Welcome back to the S&T podcast. Today we got a new ACC matchup. The newer ACC team of the bunch, SMU, playing at home against the 10th ranked Miami, Florida Hurricanes. Um, you know, Miami coming off a solid win against Stanford, but then the week prior to that, a tough loss to Louisville, who, in a video that we made, I predicted Miami to destroy Louisville. I was completely wrong. Um, but again, here I am saying the same thing again. Miami, this time they'll be on the road. When they lost to Louisville, they were at home. So, but here I am again saying how I think Miami is going to beat the brakes off of SMU. I think that Louisville loss came at the perfect time in the season. That was a good. It's going to end up being a good team to lose to when all is said and done. I don't think anybody's going to be perfect by the end of the season. I'd be surprised if Ohio State even stays undefeated. Um, but give me Miami by a million this week. I could be wrong again, but I'll take Miami over SMU, even though it's on the road. You might disagree with me, but I think, like I said, that Louisville loss is going to be just what they needed to finish the season strong, because they started the season off kind of good, and I think they kind of fell asleep a little bit. They beat Notre Dame week one, that also, looking back, is still a good win. And then a little wake up call against Louisville, knowing we can't go into every game sleepwalking like we did against Louisville. Carson Beck throwing 4 picks in that game. Then they beat Stanford handily the next week, which again that makes sense. And I think they come into this game with that same focus that where they beat Stanford after the loss to Louisville. So give me Miami by a lot of points. But I'll send that over to you to talk about your Dallas team over there.
Yes, love for my SMU Mustangs down there in Dallas, Texas. As a former Dallas Texan myself, was accepted to SMU University, so shout out to them. I have a lot of love for them. Um, the SMU Mustangs, as we all know, had a great Cinderella run last season, 11-1, making the playoff for the first time out of nowhere, shocked the entire country. Um, we're looking to repeat that success this year as well, but unfortunately, is not going the same way. Not saying they're bad because they're only 5-3. That's not a bad record for anybody. That's not in the Alabama realm of college football, but for SMU, it's not a bad year, but after the year they had the previous season, this is kind of a letdown. So they're looking to kind of pick up the pieces a little bit. They just came off a loss to Wake Forest, which was their third loss of the season already, and now they're kind of wanting to look elsewhere to ruin other people's seasons. So now they look to Miami, who comes in number 10 in the country now, after they dropped down because of a loss to Louisville that you alluded to. Um, so here's the interesting thing about Miami, right? Miami looked like world beaters the first 6 games of the season. They looked like world beaters. They looked like nobody was going to be able to beat them. Like, oh man, Miami, like, it's going to take an Ohio State type team to take them down, right? Well, then the Louisville Cardinal come into Miami and beat them up a little bit, roughed them up, and left Miami bloodied and bruised. And now they kind of have to lick their wounds and get their season back on track. And even though they did beat Stanford after that, I was paying attention. I was keeping track of that game. In the first half, they were not playing well. Uh, I think the game was tied. Maybe even Stanford was winning at the end of the first half. Miami was still sleepwalking even at that point. So after seeing that, even though they were able to pull away in the end, I'm a little concerned about the Hurricanes. I'm a little concerned that Louisville loss might have affected their mental more than it should have. And like you said, like Louisville's not a bad team. Like they only have one loss themselves. Like Louisville could make the ACC championship, could still make the playoffs. So it's not a bad loss. But I don't know. Maybe it did something to Miami because they don't look like the same Miami that beat Notre Dame and beat South Florida and beat Florida and beat Florida State, all the entire state of Florida. They don't look like that same team. So we're gonna see which Miami team shows up in Dallas this week. But another thing, kind of a tough road game because you're going on the road to Texas, a little bit far from Florida. It's cold now, so Miami's going to be in the cold. It's the outdoor stadium down there in Dallas. I don't know how cold it is in Texas right now, but it's a little cold in Georgia right now. So the South is starting to get a little cold, and this might be a true road test for them because Miami has been at home mostly throughout the first half of the season. So this could be a real interesting test for them to see how they react to going on the road and going so far. And playing a team that made the playoffs last season, which is something Miami has still not done. So um, this might end up being a pretty tough game for them. It looks tougher than it does on paper. I think it's going to be a tougher game than it looks on paper. And like you said, like when you predicted the Louisville game, you thought Miami was going to run away with it. Well, that did not end up happening. I also kind of thought the same thing. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but I thought Miami was going to take care of business. Well, this game right here, this is the game that I kind of see as a trap game for Miami. So even though they already lost that one, this could be end up being two right here. This is a true trap game right here in the true definition of one. Like you're going on the road to a good team, a team that's kind of already letting their season get away from them, so they don't really have too much to lose. Backs against the wall, they're at home, and they want to ruin your season. So Miami needs to be on point when they go down there to Texas to take on the Mustangs. So they cannot make mistakes. Carson Beck cannot throw 5 interceptions in a game and expect to win again. They're going to need to be on point, and they're going to need to play well, balanced football because SMU can definitely win this game. This is definitely a winnable game for SMU. Miami's going to have to play their true best football to come out with a win. So, um, give me Miami. Give me Miami in a close one, but I'll just say I would not be surprised if the Mustangs are celebrating after this win and the crowd rushes the field. That's all I'll say. But any more thoughts on that, Tom?
No, I think that's a really good point that I 110% agree with is that it does get dangerous. You're playing against a dog that is backed into a corner. All he can do now is fight.